Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to Echo Means Business. I am Scott, your host, and we have another Meet the Pro. And our pro is Orion down below me. Orion, tell everybody out there, if they ain't found you yet or heard of you, let's hear where you're from and what your name of your business is, Orion.
Yes, sir. Good to see you, Scott.
Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. So my name's obviously Orion Rustin. I own Lawn Enforcement LLC. We are located in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So I'd say we're about an hour outside of Washington, D.C., Baltimore, Maryland. Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting. That's interesting. So why did you call it lawn enforcement? I mean, everybody I think would want to know why you called it lawn enforcement, because I mean that's an interesting name and all together. But I mean, I'd like to hear your reason why.
Sure. So prior to getting into the green industry, I was a police officer for 16 and a half years. And so, obviously law enforcement, then you have lawn enforcement. Obviously having my background in police work, it just kind of fit. It stuck, right? So one day I was just driving and figured, I was like, man, what can we name this new business? And lawn enforcement stuck, and here we are.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, congrats on transitioning. Transitioning probably was a big mess from chasing criminals to cutting grass. But it's got to be different. I'll tell you that much. It's got to be different. But
For sure.
Thank you for your service, for all you've done so far. That's amazing.
Yes, sir.
So,
I appreciate it.
How many employees do you have? I mean, I'd like to know how many employees and did you start small and then grow, or how did you go from there?
Yes, sir. So we started, it was just me. And,
Okay.
of course I recruited a couple of buddies to come help me out, especially on the bigger jobs when I first started. We started in 2016. So, let me back up. We started in 2014, became more official in 2016. But started up with just me and a couple of my close friends.
Oh, we lost him. He probably popped out real quick.
Started out with them, and then we grew to today. We have about 15 employees.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a grind. So, obviously I was doing both with police work plus doing landscaping and mowing and all that good stuff. So there would be a lot of times I wouldn't get any sleep, but especially early on. But yeah, that's how we kind of grew.
So that's amazing. So out of the 15 people, how many crews do you send out on a daily basis?
Sure. Yeah. So typically it's about 4 to 5 crews. It all depends on what type of properties they're doing. Sometimes it'll be 6. It just depends. If we're doing a lot of large format commercial properties, then we'll send out less people as far as crew wise, but there'll be more members in the truck or in 2 trucks that are going to bang out a big property.
Nice. So what all services do you provide? I know you provide mowing, landscaping. What is there any particular services you provide that like some people out there might not think of?
Yes, sir. Yeah. So we do, again, you covered most of the general things of landscaping, the mowing. We do snow. We also do a service called portering, which is essentially, especially in like your large format facility. So let's say you have a retail place, like a retail shopping center. Usually they have like community trash cans and things of that such. So what we'll do is we'll make an all-inclusive package, and then we'll come in and we'll take out the trash every day, or if there's a vacant building, we will clean the windows of it, also do like property inspections for the property owners and things like that. So, portering is definitely something that we've tried to find a niche and get into. So that's one additional thing that we offer. Obviously, we do some hardscapes. We'll do some deck rebuilds. We'll do some fencing as well.
Nice. That portering sounds interesting. I mean, that is a good service to promote to commercial people or or even like somebody that's got a whole bunch of real estate that, they're just, renting out properties and stuff. So that is a good, interesting idea. I mean, so you see a lot of that in your area, or are you like the only one that's doing that kind of service?
So yeah, I think we're one of the few locally that do that, especially when you take in like your large companies. Like around here, a really large company is, your Bright Views and things like that. So they do some of that work as well. Again, I think it's just trying to differentiate yourself and trying to add value to your customers however you can. Again, we have a VIN track. So with that, we also have like a broom attachment. We'll offer parking lot cleaning, anything again to keep the guys busy and to keep revenue coming in. I think that's that's the name of the game.
Right. I mean, you can use that. I mean, that vent track you probably use during the snow too. I mean, with that broom, I mean, that's like a year-round piece of equipment, really.
100%. It's worth it.
That's awesome. So, okay, so what made you want to get into lawn care? I mean, you were in law enforcement for 16 years. What made you want to step out and kind of get into all the lawn and landscaping? Because I know a lot of people like get into things just as a side hustle, and then they just takes off on them, and they realize that that's more of their passion. So what was your reasoning?
Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of different reasons, but I'll say one of the main things was, again, law enforcement, love it to death. It was a great career for me. But again, I think without going too deep into it, I think you deal with a lot of negativity, and I wanted to be able to provide some positive things to the community as well, meaning like, hey, here's a good job for somebody so that they don't have to go down the path of, criminal behavior and things of that such. So again, I think it was more of just seeing how I could benefit the community. And that was something that's obviously really close, something that I hold very close to me. As far as myself wanting to get into it, I like the challenge. I really enjoyed the challenge of getting out there. Of course, we always arrive to that property and it looks like crap, and then by the time we're done through our sweat equity, this property looks amazing. And then to see your customers and see your clients, how happy they are with the job that you've done. I think that's, for most people, again, I think that's something that's huge, whether that's a landscape job, some new mulch you're adding, if that is, just mowing. Again, I think it's great to go, and once you see the complete product or the completed product, it looks great.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I always like the end product. I mean, to go from, something that's totally in disarray to just amazingness, and beautiful. It excites me, to see the end product of something when I go ahead and do that stuff.
Absolutely.
So what's one of the biggest challenges since you started? I mean, there was COVID and stuff that came through. So did that impact you and your business over in your area? I know it didn't really impact us too much, but I want to know, did that impact your business during COVID? Being that you had just started a couple of years before that. So, yeah, that had to be.
Yeah,
tough.
that was, again, it was a very difficult time, and because again, the world is trying to figure out how to navigate it. Locally, there weren't a lot of guidelines out of my state in the beginning, but are we essential? Are we not? Right. But once we were able to get over that hurdle and figure out, yes, we are essential, we need to continue, I think business exploded. And it was a really good time, right? Like everybody, we thought it was going to be terrible. But, with everybody being at home, a lot of projects were going on. I think that time period is where we really started to solidify our name in the community, because, again, people were they had extra money. They were also looking to improve the quality of their house on the residential side. Your businesses, they still had to make sure that their businesses look presentable, because they could still get fined or whatnot. So overall, looking back, I think that was truly a blessing for a lot of people, because it allowed you the opportunity to really make some revenue and then start growing your service-based business.
Yeah, I think it did. I mean, in our area, it really, I think it boosted a lot of landscapers in our area because we were considered emergency personnel at that time. And it was kind of like, I don't know how we're emergency personnel, but we're out here cutting the grass, so it's got to be important to cut that grass. So
Absolutely.
I mean, we're here. We'll make sure your yard looks good today. So, It was awesome. So That's awesome. So what's one of the biggest challenges you've had in business so far that you've overcome?
Wow. That's a loaded question.
It is.
That's a good one. I like it. Oh man, there's so many. I think being a business owner, especially a small business owner, is trying on your relationships at home.
Right.
A lot of people. It's hard to get out of that mentality of, hey, I'm a business owner. I need to talk about business 24/7, right? Because again, I think it's a lifestyle. So I think relationships was one of the maintaining personal relationships was one of the big things. Again, time management, that was another thing, especially early on for me, at least. I was split between two separate careers, right? So that was really challenging. And the other thing I would say also is trying to understand what is necessary and what isn't. And what I mean by that is, especially like equipment, what is necessary and what is not. Again, do we have some extra money because of COVID maybe?
Right.
And do we invest in this specific piece of equipment, or do we kind of hold off? Do we buy new? Do we buy used? Again, do we need to add another team member? Again, those are all things that are very challenging, especially early on, and even still to this day. I mean, it's difficult to navigate, projections on what this is going to look like next year, where we're going to be at in 2 years. So I think those are definitely some challenging things.
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, it's hard to do both and try to differentiate. And like you said, sometimes as a business owner, you walk in and you start talking to your wife, and you're just talking business, and she's just like, yeah, okay, we got it. Just move on. But I can understand. I mean, it is definitely something challenging. So, as you've grown, have you seen like a big increase to where you've grown real quick, or has it been like slow where you've added crew after crew after crew, or did you have to add it all at once?
Yeah. So again, we grew quickly, and it was strategic. And I say that because, again, I had started in 2014, became really official in 2016. And then from 2016 until about 2021, we were just kind of just very, very slow progression. And then through some pressure of people that are close to me, they told me, hey, listen, man, we should really start to get an office person. Like, this is going to help us. And again, I think most business owners find themselves in this position where it's, can we really afford that? Is that the right move? And in conjunction with that, we got our first true commercial shop. And now it's like, man, I just, now I'm spending $4,000 or $5,000 on a commercial place to rent out. Also, I'm going to take on this additional, investment of hiring somebody. And I think that's where it started to become, crucial for us. And that's where we started to really just go to the next level. I mean, hiring our first office person was huge. Took a lot of stress off of me too.
I bet.
Yeah.
I mean, it is challenging at times. I tell you that much. I mean, I've gone from starting out low by myself and just exploding to, and having a lot of crews, and trying to manage all that at once, and not having somebody in the background to help out. It's always a big plus when it comes to hiring somebody. Some people don't realize that, but as you start to get bigger, you got to hire somebody to help out, especially in the background.
Absolutely.
So now, do you do a lot of the estimates, or do you go out and actually get physical and work with the employees, your crews and stuff?
Yeah. So I'm a hands-on guy. I
Nice.
definitely try to get out there as much as possible. Um, so I never show up empty-handed. I know that sounds crazy, but again, how can we be more efficient? And what I mean by that is, if it's hot, I'm coming out and I'm going to bring some Gatorades, and then I'm going to get on the mower, I'm going to get on the trimmer, I'm going to get on the shovel, whatever I can do to, again, set the example. I'm a big proponent of leading by example, and I'm not going to ask somebody to do something I'm not willing to do. So 100%, I will get out there and get dirty with the guys. As far as estimations go, it all depends. I will estimate. I will do the estimates, but I'll also take one of my lead guys out again, so that way he knows what's going on and he can kind of bridge the gap as well between myself and the other team members. So yeah, 100%, I will get out there. Absolutely. Absolutely. I'll also love to play mechanic too.
I do too.
Yeah, exactly. See,
You got to. I think as a business owner, no matter where you are, you got to know how to work on some of the equipment, because you never know. There's always that one piece of equipment that a guy goes out with a weed whip or a blower, and something goes bad, and you're like, okay, I know exactly what that is. Yep. I can change it. It's a gas filter. It's a spark plug. And instead of having to go spend all that money to replace it, you know exactly what you got to replace, and you just can do it and get to it. That's awesome.
Yes, sir.
And I give it to you. That's awesome. I like that. I'm same with you. I kind of get out there. I get out there with my guys. I'm always that guy that makes sure they got water every day. They got, if they need ice, I'll get them ice. I make sure that, every day I'll buy them a pop if they need a pop or something. It's that little bit that makes it go the longer way. And I think it shows that you care about your employees, and that that they are part of your team. And any way you look at it, they're there to help you out in the long run. So
100%. Yes.
So what is one of your biggest pieces of equipment that you like to use on a daily basis?
Wow. Wow. I would say our skid loader. Okay. I enjoy running the skid loader. I would enjoy running the skid loader. We have a wheel loader as well. That one I'm not that big of a fan of, but the skid loader, yeah, you get me in that thing, I'll just go put my headphones in and you won't see me again, So
right.
I definitely enjoy running some of the heavier equipment, especially on like a hardscape job or something like that, doing some of the excavation work. But yeah, I would say skid loader for sure.
Nice. Okay, so here's a good question I'm going to ask, and there's probably people out here that are watching, and I've seen the evolution of battery versus gas. Do you have any battery pieces of equipment, and what do you have, and do you like what you're using, or are you more of a gas equipment guy?
Yeah, that's a great question. So for us, I mean, again, I personally, we have a lot of gas, mainly everything.
Right.
When we do have some backpack sprayers and things like that are more battery operated, which we get great feedback on from the guys, because they don't have to hand pump
Right.
with the backpack blowers or with the backpack sprayers on. So yeah, I haven't had that much exposure and or experience with the battery powered things, but again, I can definitely see it in where it's going to be, that's the direction that everything is going.
Right.
And I think it's a good idea in the sense of the maintenance aspect of it. You just put the battery in and you're off to the races. And also, again, with sound pollution as well, right? So, if you get stuck on that job site late or early in the morning, you're probably a little better off. The neighbors aren't going to be as upset with you. Especially
right. That is awesome. Okay. Okay. Since you have so many teams, and crews that you run every day, on a daily basis, do you have them go get gas, or do you guys keep gas on hand in the shop? Because a lot of guys nowadays, as they're getting bigger and bigger, as they're getting more shop and stuff, they carry gas on, so their guys not running around too much and making too many stops to kind of make it more efficient. So do you have that more efficient aspect of your business?
Yes, yeah. We have fuel at our shop. Again, I know there's a lot of like controversy. There can be some controversy over
Right.
that comments. Again, I if the guys have to stop or have to go, or they want to go get a coffee in the morning, or stop, I'm not opposed to it. Listen, at the end of the day, we're all human, and I get it, because I have to go to Dunkin' every morning, right? Like that's one of my vices. So I'm not going to fault somebody for doing that. Again, the expectation is that when we're working, we work hard. When we're on our way to a job site, listen, if we have to stop and we have to get fuel, or we have to use the bathroom, get a soda, whatever that is, then I'm okay with it, me personally. Again, I understand it can be lost revenue, but again, if your people are important, and you're monitoring them and you're encouraging them, it's balance. It's
Right.
just balance. So, that's how I feel about it. But yes, to answer your question, we have fuel on site.
Nice. All right. So here I'm going to throw this at you because you have so many people. Do you do team bonding, or do you do like meetings weekly? How do you run all the crews? Do you separate crew leaders? Do you bring them all together as one? How do you do
So
that?
yeah, we do a mixture of both, honestly. We do have team building events. Typically, we have we do most of our major holidays together, not on the day, but a couple days before. We have a lot of cookouts at the shop. Also during Thanksgiving, I open up my house to them. We all come over and have a good time. Usually on Thanksgiving Day. Uh, but as far as, if a message needs to be pushed out, then I'll typically gather up our team leads, and tell them, and they'll push it out to the guys. Again, there's no reason in particular as to why I do it that way. Well, let me back up. There is a reason why, and again, from my prior background,
Right.
that's what we would do. I was a supervisor,
Right.
so it was always kind of like your chain of command, if you will.
Right.
So again, that's typically what we do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I mean, I see it different ways from different people as they get bigger, and some people like to have everybody and all together, and let everybody know, and then some people like to pass it down the line and let the team leads pass it to their guys that are on the crew. And I think it's good both ways, and I think that helps build the team no matter which way you look at it. And then also by doing all the team bonding that you guys are doing, and even anything you can do with any of your employees on a day, weekly basis or once a year or something, makes it building up and business up better by bonding all your employees together as one. I think it's a definite benefit to the business. So we got a couple more minutes left before we're done for the night. I got a couple more good questions here for you. All right. You're ready for this. You're like, oh, great. Here we go. So, we go, a lot of things done by running by computer, phones, and stuff. How do you run your daily routes? Do you use a computer? Do you just print out a list? Do you have like a CRM that does all that stuff? I know you said you have an office lady that takes care of a lot of that stuff, and how do you communicate that with everybody and employees and all that?
Sure. So again, we go back to our team leads, and my office lady will usually sit down, gather up the data, and figure out what needs to be hit when. But ultimately, this is a lot of trust. We put a lot on our team guys, our team leads. And what I mean by that is they know if, okay, we got rained out, let's say, they know exactly what they're supposed to hit. Why? Because they're consistently on the same route. We don't do a lot of switching. Again, now if we're doing a large format property, they will all go together, but for the most part, their routes are very, very consistent. So I believe in taking ownership of your route. And again, I'm not a big micromanager, so I like to let them have their discretion. They know that this location is supposed to be hit on Monday. Okay, go hit it on Monday. If you cannot get to it, make sure it's the first thing you do on Tuesday, right? So again, it's giving them that ownership. It's giving them some leadership and letting them have pride in their work. Again, do we follow up to make sure it was complete? 100%. 100%. I will ride out and make sure it's done. Or, again, communication is huge. They'll let us know, hey, couldn't get to it, for whatever reason. There's always a reason. But, we that's how we do it. But yeah, that's definitely how we do things.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I like that. That answers a lot. Okay. Last question, I think, before the end of the night in our show here today. So how do you see your business? Do you see your business continuously growing for the next couple of years, or are you comfortable where you're at? I think that's always one of the things people like to either know if you want to continue to grow or if you are comfortable where you're at. Because some people like to get to a certain point and they don't like to go past that point because if they feel like it's a climb sometimes. Sometimes it's harder to get there. Sometimes it's easier, but I'd like to know about where you see yourself in, say, 5 years from now.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I want to continue to grow. And again, okay, I'm a big proponent of the more we grow. Again, that's not for like personal reasons, but it's more for the more we grow, the more opportunity we can provide for people, for them to be able to take care of their families. And the more lives that we can touch, the better off. Again, how can we provide stable employment for people, and how can we, be a positive influence on the community? That's huge to me. Again, probably because of my background, but that's one of the most important things to me. So yeah, I would like to continue to scale, just continue to grow, because again, opportunity for others.
Awesome. That is awesome. I think I wish you the best. I mean, that's always the best thing, to continuously grow if you can. There's always work out there. That's the way I look at it. There's always work out there, and the best thing to do is just can grow. So, congrats. You said you're a big component of community. So, yes, what things do you do? I know you do some things to give back to the community. So, what things do you do to give back to the community?
Yeah. So, again, we like to attend a lot of community events, try to figure out, okay, during Christmas time, what is it that some of our underprivileged kids within our school systems can use for gifts, just different things like that. Again, we like to go out to a lot of different parades and things like that to not necessarily get our name out there, but how can we help? What is it we can do for the people, especially for kids?
Right.
That's typically what we do.
Awesome. So if anybody wants to get a hold of you, Orion, where would they get a hold of you? I mean, you said you're over by DC and all that stuff. So, what's the best way that if somebody wanted to get a hold of you and reach out to you, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Yeah. So, obviously you can find us on Facebook or Lawn Enforcement 820 on Facebook, on Instagram. We're on there. It's lawn_enforcement, and also the same on TikTok. So yeah, just, reach out on social media, and yeah.
I want to thank you, Orion, for being on, dude. It was great to meet you again. I mean, I know we've met a couple times. We've talked a lot, so it's always good to have you on, man. And I think everybody needs to go and find this guy. He's on Echo Means Business. He's a UAG member just like I am, and he does some great work out there. If you ain't following him, you got to follow him. You should see his work. I mean, it's just amazing what he does too. So
thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. We will have another live coming up in, I think it's at the end of September, and I will be hosting it. We're going to get things to prepare for the Equip Expo that's coming up. Ryan, are you going to Equip?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All right. I can't wait to be there, man. Together, we're gonna have some great time. I'll tell you that much.
Sure.
It's gonna be it's amazing. I think it's always amazing to have people there that enjoy the lawn care and just amazing on all that equipment that's there. So
can't wait.
Oh, I can't wait either. It's gonna be it's always something. I don't think there's enough time to look at everything. I really don't.
Yes, sir.
you could give me a week, and I don't think I would have enough time still.
Definitely.
But I can't stay away that long. So, gotcha. But definitely come by, check us all out at Echo Means Business, and definitely check out Orion. Definitely thank you for being on again. Like I said, thank everybody that's watching, and if you're listening, keep listening to us. Echo Means Business on all your podcast forms. Watch us on all our social media channels, and thank you all for joining tonight. And we look forward to seeing you in a couple of weeks. So, anything else you want to throw out there, Orion, before we head out?
No, I just want to thank you again, Scott. Thank you, Echo. Echo Means Business. I really appreciate the opportunity, and like you said, looking forward to seeing everybody at Equip.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be fun. I'll tell you that much. It's gonna be fun. There's so much to do. There's always is, and look forward to a lot more coming up from Echo Means Business, because there's a lot going on between now and the end of the year. So some great podcast lives and some great Meet the Pros still to come. So that's all I got to say, guys. So thank you all for listening. So